You're watching ABC4 News with Emily Flores, Glenn Mills, and Thomas Keyboy.
The immediate threat of government shutdown is over. For now.
Yes, however, lawmakers are still working with a tight timeline to get a budget passed. Hannah Brandt's in Washington, D.C. to explain.
Both the House and the Senate voted to pass a bill to extend their deadline to next Friday, giving them more time to negotiate on the full budget bill. It's starting to seem like a congressional Christmas tradition. Lawmakers left negotiating the yearly budget until the very last minute.
There's a better way to do it, yes. But the fact is, we're on a good path now to get something done.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi says it was the right move for the House to extend the shutdown deadline because bipartisan negotiators need more time to figure out a full budget for the next fiscal year.
Negotiations keep trending in the right direction, but we still have a lot of work left to do.
Most House Republicans want to wait until January to pass a budget because that's when they'll take over the House majority. But Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell says some members of his party are willing to get it done now.
I hope they're able to produce text of a bipartisan government funding bill that can pass the Senate.
A bipartisan group says they've already agreed on a framework for the spending package, and they just need enough Republican support in the Senate to get to 60 votes. But if they can't get there,
I'll support pivoting next week to a short-term continuing resolution into the new year.
Senate Leader Chuck Schumer insists that passing a full budget next week is the best path for the country.
Because it will ensure that our kids, our veterans, our small businesses, and our military continue to have full access to vital services and programs they depend on.
The details of that tentative budget framework haven't been released yet, even to some lawmakers. But the total cost is expected to be somewhere around $1.7 trillion. In Washington, I'm Hannah Brandt.
In Michigan, 3 men convicted of plotting to kidnap and kill Governor Gretchen Whitmer were sentenced, their plot failing, and the governor re-elected this year. The men were found guilty of providing material support for a terrorist act that they hoped would spark a civil war. The 3 men all sentenced to between 7 and 12 years.
And in a health alert tonight, according to the federal government, right now, COVID-19 cases are rising in 90% of the country. ABC's Liz Kreutz has more on this story.
As the so-called Tripledemic overwhelms hospitals across the country, the White House unveiling their plan to combat a winter surge in COVID-19, announcing all Americans can once again get free testing kits sent to their homes.
We don't want this winter to look like last winter or the winter before.
The White House saying every household can order up to 4 tests through the covidtest.gov website. The test set to ship out as early as next week. The president's plan coming as the country deals with a rise in multiple viruses, including RSV, COVID, and the flu.
Flu is rising in many parts of the country. We're probably the worst flu outbreak we've seen in a decade.
In San Diego County, Tristan Tamborelli was so sick with 2 strains of the flu, he had to be airlifted to the hospital.
It was so bad that I was scared that he wasn't going to make it.
The 10-year-old who has underlying health conditions had not yet received his flu shot when he got sick. He was put on a ventilator, and 2 weeks later, he's still in the ICU. His terrified dad now urging others to get vaccinated.
I hate to see anybody else have to go through this.
The World Health Organization also now tracking a bacterial infection, an uptick in rare but invasive strep A infections among children. This all as COVID-19 cases rise around the world. These images from Beijing, streets empty as cases there explode. In the U.S., the White House urging all Americans to get their flu and COVID shots, hoping to prevent a massive holiday surge that could further strain hospitals.
That's the biggest thing Americans can do to make sure their hospitals are functional.
Liz Kreutz, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Thomas Keyboy. Weather rates certified 11 years in a row.
All right, we are talking about some very serious snow totals after those storms.
Yes, indeed. Thomas, you have a wrap of the storm and what's to come.
Yep, at Salt Lake City International Airport, over a foot of snow, and in our mountains, we were measuring the snow in feet rather than inches, but Utah sure is beautiful after a very fresh snow. This was captured by Meg Roberts today, Bonneville Golf Course. Definitely not golfing weather, but when you look at the snow in the distance, hard not to love it. And if you're going to be heading up to our mountains the next few days, you're going to love all the fresh powder there is to enjoy. Little Cottonwood Canyon over 5 feet of snow. You're going to want to stay in bounds and on those groomers, though, because the avalanche danger in our backcountry remains considerable. But what a great video sent in by Andy Heyer. So thanks for everyone that shared your photos and videos. And if you have any that you captured over the last few days, send them our way. We'd still love to show them on air, especially for our Friday as we close out the week. On the Storm Tracker radar, just about all the snow has moved away. We did see a little bit of lake effect, more so flurries, but the drier air continues to move in. And during the overnight hours, we go to mostly dry skies, and then we'll be looking at calmer skies in the days ahead. But the days will be chilly. The nights will be very cold. But if you're looking for slightly milder temperatures, those will be arriving as we turn the page into early next week. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. But the view from Sundance right now, that is just absolutely stunning. Look at all the fresh snow on the trees right there in the distance. Just want to go down that on a snowboard or on some skis. But it's definitely cold outside no matter where you are. It's 9 degrees in Logan. It's 24 in Salt Lake City, 23 in Provo. 18 degrees in Ogden. St. George are sitting at 37 degrees, and tonight it is going to be frigid for both Salt Lake and St. George. Salt Lake City dropping to 13 degrees tonight. That's cold. I don't care if you're used to the cold, just cold looking at that temperature. And St. George will be dropping into the lower 20s as well. And in lower Washington County, there's also the chance that we could see some canyon winds tonight. So late tonight, first thing tomorrow morning, don't be surprised if it's quite breezy thanks to winds out of the northeast. And we'll kind of play that forward here on the Futurecast, not looking at much in the way of any wet weather, but you can see those breezy conditions. High pressure settles in from our north. So winds out of the north and down south, winds out of the northeast. And that's why we could see those canyon winds. Not going to be looking at any chance really for wet weather in the days ahead, but we will be looking at plenty of cold temperatures. And look at some of these daytime highs tomorrow, only climbing to 26. But what grabs my attention tonight, dropping to -1 in Logan. Those mountain valleys tonight, single digits, close to 0 degrees, dropping to 3 degrees in Vernal. And then tomorrow in St. George, we're going to be feeling that chill as well, as when we top out in the lower 40s. And in St. George, we get low 40s through Saturday, overnight lows in the 20s. There's even a chance St. George could sneak into the upper teens tomorrow night. And that's cold across the southwest desert. Temperatures will begin to moderate, though, as we turn the page into early next week, close to 50 degrees by Wednesday, as overnight lows will get closer and closer to the freezing mark. Then along the Wasatch Front, daytime highs in the 20s the next couple of days, overnight lows in the teens. Hats, gloves, whatever you need to do, make sure you bring the pets inside. It's cold, but then as we go into Monday and Tuesday, temperatures getting closer to our seasonal averages and maybe bringing in a slight chance for wet weather by Wednesday and Thursday.